Hello everyone. I watched Star Wars Last Jedi about a week ago, but every time I kept sitting down to record, I was like, must do it, I must do it, I must do it, and I'm like, oh shit, look at that time or whatever, work's a bitch just after Christmas. So yeah, so finally I got an evening to stop and sit down, which means I won't be streaming this Sunday, but such is life. Can't have it all. But yeah, just wanted to sort of throw my thoughts out there. This was a really enjoyable film for me. A few bits that I'll go into later put the brakes on it a bit, and sort of I'll get into why I think they were the way they were. But yeah, a good addition to the Star Wars franchise. But yeah, there were a few bits in it that were a bit, not sure what that was about, type of thing. So yeah, so the good bits. Rey and Luke acted very, very well together. The whole Force Jedi thing from where they left off at the Force Awakens when she's on the island. All of that, the whole sort of thing was very good. Don't quite know why they needed to put in the whole alien nuns walking around fixing stuff. Maybe to show how Luke survived so long, but he was a capable Jedi, so I'd imagine he could survive in most places without needing strange alien nun women. But who knows? I suppose everyone likes company in a way. But yeah, I think that the whole sort of that kind of thing with Luke, I don't want to say training because it wasn't really training. It was sort of more um, going over why he went into isolation and what his thoughts of the Jedi after so long, and where he believes the Force should be, and where Jedi's and Sith should be. So it was more of uh, more sharing Luke's point of view than really training like he had on Dagobah, like lifting rocks and doing handstands and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think sort of they explored the Force uh, in a very, not in a very, but in a different way this time around, and they seem to be really pushing this sort of middle of the road idea, right? How the Force should be isn't instinctively good or bad. It's just an entity or a force, ironically enough, that exists out there, and it's how people use it and how people perceive it is what makes it good or bad. It's instinct. It's inherently neither. But yeah, I get where they're trying to go with, sort of like it's. But George Lucas made it a good and bad. It was always meant to be good and bad, as far as I know. It was always supposed to be it's good versus evil. It's the light versus the dark. And I think by the end of it, towards the end, I think they even alluded to that with the whole sort of, every time a great evil arises, a great good will arise to oppose it. And if there's too much good in a way in the world, an evil rises to oppose it. And that is true. I mean, it is true in Star Wars 'cause obviously it's a film, so you need an opposing villain to a hero or a hero to a villain. But yeah, I think that's how, in a way, I suppose the Force would maintain its own balance, is to have an equal amount of good to bad, and it's the conflict between them both is what sort of makes that the balance, and what causes the push and the pull in a way, which I think is a interesting concept. But I may be reading too much into it. Who the fuck knows? Poe and the Rebellion was really good. I enjoyed their sort of their whole story arc and where they were going. And Poe's good. The actor, I can't remember his bloody name. He's a good. I quite enjoy him. I'm waiting for them to not sense, but say he's full sensitive, because all the good starfighters in Star Wars films, at least, have been full sensitive, because Anakin was, and he was supposed to be like the best starfighter in the whole of the Clone Wars on both sides. And Luke was supposed to be a pretty dab hand as a star pilot as well, and obviously he was full sensitive. So I am waiting for them to suggest that he is. Whether Rey senses it, or it's just one of those things he inherently sort of passively uses without even realizing he does it, and one day he does it out of instinct. Who knows? But yeah, I'm waiting for them to say that about him. Finn, this is the point where the gripe starts to come, because I've already tried to record this once and I got into a massive spitting tangent for about 10 minutes, so I've got to stop. But for me, I think they didn't know what to do with Finn. He's a great actor, the guy, and I'm doing really, really bad with actors' names in this film. I'm sorry. He's a really good actor and he does really well as Finn. Couldn't imagine anyone else doing it, to be honest, because he's so cool. But I think they were like, right, Rey's got the Force and this whole sort of Jedi thing. Poe's got the rebellion and all that kind of thing covered. Shit, what the fuck do we do with Finn? Because it's the third of the trio, you know. Obviously you had Luke, Leia and Han in the first ones, but in the original three. And now obviously you've got Rey, Poe and Finn in the new three. As the new three even. So it's like I say, so Rey's got the Force, Poe's got the Rebellion, Finn's got shit. And that's why I think they sent him off on his own little mission, just because he was sort of like, they were like, let's just fuck him off to the side, because we've got nothing really to do. He's got nothing really to do, and I assume they didn't want two of the main characters doing the whole rebellion thing, because I think it would have been overkill, because then they would have had to give more time over to the rebellion. But the way the plot was with them, they had the right amount of time in the film to get across what they wanted to, and I think if they had done a second character in that situation, they would have had to dedicate more time to it, and it wouldn't have called for it, and it would have made the film slower. So they were right in getting him off the rebellion side, and obviously couldn't put him with the Force camp. So they had to send him off on this weird third mission type of thing, which I thought was just unnecessary. I mean, Benicio del Toro is a great actor, and it was great to see him in it, and there were some funny moments and some interesting moments, but it felt like, yeah, it just felt unnecessary for me, and it's a shame. It really is. That's probably the biggest bit of the film that I didn't like at all, was his whole plot. And I know many reviewers and that have all laid into it saying it was all filler and blah, 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 but it truly was. It just was like, it didn't need to happen. It really didn't. Didn't start with anything. It didn't turn into anything. It didn't finish in anything. It was just a blur. Now my other little gripes are mostly to do with characters themselves, not plots. So I don't like Kylo Ren, the actor. Kylo Ren, the character, fine. I don't like the actor. Why does he have to have his shirt off? In a Star Wars film, Star Wars films are not exactly known to be sexy. Were we concerned that the female demographic were losing interest in the Star Wars films? I never knew it needed to cater to that kind of thing. I thought it was a massive geeky sci-fi convention. So yeah, maybe, you know, we needed to know that he can do impressive chest presses, perhaps also impressive incline chest presses. Who knows? He's obviously been doing lap pull-ups and all that kind of thing, so he's obviously been working out. Good lad. But I don't quite understand why we need that for a film, especially when he's all washed, so he's glistening as well. I was like, oh, stop it. Oh, fuck's sake. But yeah, for me, he's too much of a whiny, emo, moany little fucking kid that's 1 minute away from a temper tantrum every time I see him. I expect him any minute now to go, no, like proper sort of like banging his fists on the fucking table. He doesn't come across as a conflicted, emotionally torn character. He comes across as a whiny teenager that's mad at his parents. I mean, what the fuck is that? That's our new great evil Sith enemy, is it? A whiny, upset because my parents didn't let me play with the dark side shit. Fuck off. No, no, no. Look at some of the great Star Wars villains there's been, not only in the main films, but in comic books, in film, in TV, in computer games. I've played all the old Star Wars games, and there are some great villains and great characters, which I'll bring up later on as a future thought. I mean, look at them all. Some of them are amazing. So we've gone through all these characters like Darth Bane, Darth Revan, Darth Malak, Kreia. I said Bane, didn't I? Um, you know, Sidious, all those kinds of ones. You know, Marco Ragnus. Who's some of the other ones I can think of? I couldn't think of. Duntraya. But all these really, really cool, like old Republic, very like before all the hyperspace war stuff, all the way through Sidious and Tyrannus and Maul and all the way up to this guy. He's now the future of the Sith, is he? This whiny pissant. As a really, really like Sith loving kind of guy that I am, I'm hurt by this. I play SWTOR a fair bit, and KOTOR, both of them are some of my favourite games of all time. And this is the Sith. This is the great menace of the universe, of the galaxy. Sorry, is this fucker? No. He looks like he should be walking around with guy liner on after falling out of a hot topic, with Crawling in My Skin quietly humming away in the background. Because that's all he is to me. He's just a fucking teenager. Anyway, I've got to cut it short because I'll start on another fucking 15-minute rant. But suffice to say, don't like him. Could have done better with him. Luke is amazing. Mark Hamill, you are a brilliant actor, and it's a shame you never got more roles in fucking film. Brilliant voice actor, brilliant actor. I like him in DC's Flash as well as the Trickster. Really good in that. So he's cool. Yeah, like I say, Ray and Poe very good. Like I say, if Poe's not full sensitive later on down the line, I'll be very disappointed. Finn's good actor, but unfortunately given a bit of a shit sideline role. Chewbacca's awesome. He has a couple of very funny moments. Not in it a lot, but the nice thing is the bits he's in it are good when he's in them. Like he's in about 3 or 4 bits. One, when he's eating dinner, is very funny, and I really liked it. Made me laugh with those little chicken penguin things. Very funny. Made me chuckle a lot. Hux. I think they got the right actor. Like the look of the guy. And I like the way he talks. I think he overdoes it a bit too much. Because a lot of the bridge crew of the older Star Wars films, and even these newer ones, are very reserved, and I think he should have been very reserved. And I think when he had the speech in The Force Awakens, that should have been one of the very, very few times he lost his composure and his very sort of stiff upper lip, reserved, not showing any sort of outward emotion, sort of, stick up his arse kind of mentality that all the Empire, Imperial, what do they call themselves, New Order, should be like to me. They should be, very sort of militaristic and soulless almost characters. And I think in this, after that speech, he become a lot less reserved and more, I don't want to say egomaniac, but more, what's the word? More hammy, I suppose is the best word for it. I can't think of a better word. But yeah, I think he's alright, but I wouldn't miss him if he didn't turn up in the next one. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't necessarily go, shit, they cut out a really good character. Because they didn't really. The Red Dudes. It was nice to see the Red Dudes finally got something to do. They were cool. Finally, at last, we get to see what these Red Guards actually fucking do. And that was enjoyable. The lightsaber fights and all the fights in general were very, very good. Very well choreographed. Very well acted, the cinematography was good, the music was good, the lighting was good. All very enjoyable. All those fights kind of stuff were great. And that was all enjoyable. what was the last one? Was Phasma. Oh, Phasma. So you get an actress who's, I know is famous mostly because of Game of Thrones, but she had a good voice and looked really good in that armor. Looked fucking amazing in that armor. And what the fuck did you do with her? Nothing. You have Phasma. It's like, I understand that obviously, you know, I know Boba Fett went out like a punk in Return of the Jedi. He went out like a punk, and it somehow got a massive cult following, mostly due to the expanded universe stuff. He become a really, really cool character, and everyone latched onto him. Fine. Are you hoping to repeat this glory with Phasma? Because I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that people are going to latch on to Phasma the way they did with Boba Fett. I just don't think it's going to happen. If you're trying to do it, like have just one of these things where it's just bosh and done, and then you're expecting the expanded universe to really develop a character, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh, this is fucking amazing!" Oh, because she's barely in this film and like disappears out of nowhere. Ain't going to happen. I just don't think it is. I mean, Boba Fett was a bounty hunter. That makes for interesting stories. This is an Imperial. Oh, I keep saying Imperial. Fuck's sake. First Order, leader of all the soldiers, and she's been more of a robot than Huck says. It's just not there. I'm sorry. I just don't think that. Yeah, she was in and out of the film, and it was such a shame. Such a shame. Oh, speaking of things that they pick up and drop, two really interesting things that were sort of left over from the last film that were a bit sort of, oh, well, they weren't they? Oh, this could be interesting. Snoke, because it's an N and not an M. Snoke. And Leia's parents. Leia's parents? Leia's parents? The fuck is that? Rey's parents. Two interesting plots that could have been developed into something really, really, really cool. And what the fuck do you do with them? Nothing. What the hell was that? Oh, yeah. Oh, there's that as well, yeah. For me, like I say, I was saying to my mate, it felt like they had thoughts of what they wanted to do with sort of Luke and that at the end of Force Awakens. And they had an idea where they wanted the rebellion to go. And they used all the characters they wanted to get those two really interesting plots done the way they wanted. But then they turned around and went, fuck. We got all these characters left over. What the shit do we do with these? We can go over there, he can go over there, she can do that, he can do that, she can do that, she can fuck around with that, and good, we've done it. Excellent. I say it's just oh no, why? You could have made her, you could have made the whole parent thing part of the next film. Well, fuck it, have a spin-off book, have something that could have explored her parents. She could have gone off like Luke did straight after training, just vanish and shoot off for a film. Off she goes. Wonderful. Goes to find her parents, using the Force now that she's more in tune with. So I need a drink. I've been talking for an hour and a half between recordings, because I've recorded this about 2-3 times now. Because I kept going off on tangents, like I am now, So yeah, so two really sort of everyone was speculating about fan theories and all that, and they just turn around and go, nah, she's that, and he's that, and whatever. We couldn't really think of anything interesting to do with it, so fuck it, we've just killed them off. Those two plot points have just been killed off. Oh, alright. You make a thing out of it in Force Awakens and do fuck all with it in the next one. Okay, fine. Leia, again, Carrie Fisher. Like I say, all the acting for me when it was part of those big plot lines that I was talking about were really good and really enjoyable. But then there was this little thread interwoved of just bollocks that took you out of the film for me. But Leia, this is going to be a little bit spoilery, I suppose. But I've been trying very hard to sort of say stuff without saying stuff. I know I said that in the last review, but you know what I'm saying. Her using the Force. Now, up to now, I know she's not been officially trained as a Jedi, so fine. You know, I'm not expecting her to fucking move rocks around and, you know, twirl a lightsaber and do backflips and all that kind of shit. I actually get that. You know, she's not had formal training, whether she never wanted to, whether, you know, it was never given to her, like, you know, whatever. But up until now, she's only really used the sort of Force instinctively and as more of a reaction than an actual meaning to. But for the first time, and unfortunately the last, she uses the Force. So you take Princess Leia, who is a strong female character from the earliest times I can ever remember strong female characters being around in films. Who's a great actress. Again, another one that never really saw her fame. And you make her do a Superman impression through space. Why? What? Why? 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 I would have, you know, there could have been another way to get her out of that situation. There should have been. There could have been another way to get her out of that situation. Using the Force. I'm absolutely fine with her using the Force. Like I say, I would have expected her to maybe use the Force in a way to keep herself alive through just sheer reaction, just like throwing her hands up, going, ugh! And then the Force, you know, throws her out the room or throws her over somewhere, or she, you know, gets or throws something in front of her so that whatever takes place doesn't happen to her. That kind of thing, or either shuts the doors, or, you know, something like that. Not make her do a fucking Superman impression across space. No. No, 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 no. To then get replaced by Laura Dern, who has a cunning plan to get the rebellion away from the Empire. Oh, keep saying Empire. Fuck, I'm just going to keep calling them Empire. If I call them Empire, substitute it for, you know, the Order, or whatever it is. Order 66. The New Order, whatever it's called. First Order. Them fuckers. So the Empire. So yeah. So she's, you know, injured in this event that takes place. So she's sidelined for the majority of the film. And Laura Dern appears. Great, Laura Dern, still looking pretty fit these days, with purple hair. But still totally do it though. She has this wonderful plan that she's going to make sure that obviously, you know, the rebellion survives and that they can all get away from the First Order. Okay, fine, wonderful. Now, she doesn't tell anyone what this plan is. Okay, I get that you may be a bit concerned about infiltrators, spies, whatever. So okay, don't broadcast it to the whole bridge crew. Don't broadcast it to the whole ship, just in case. I get that. You know, you want to keep this plan a little bit on the hush hush. Fine by me. But Poe, on several occasions, has been highlighted to be Leia's best pilot, almost closest confidant when it comes to plans and executing said plans. So if you're worried that people don't need to know, at least tell him, because he has been the most actively turning around to you going, what's the plan? And you're just not telling him, which then forces him to have to do something which is almost what I feel like the reason they did it was to fuel the whole getting rid of Finn side of the film. Because there was no reason she couldn't tell him and him alone. Maybe, sort of go, I don't know, get off my bridge, you're not welcome here, and you're confined to your room or something. To get him off the bridge so she doesn't have to tell it in front of everyone. And then go down to him and pretend to bawl him out in his room and fucking tell him what the plan is quietly in the room between the bollocking he's getting. And then he knows, and then he could even fucking help, probably. No, let's not do that. Okay, no, let's not do that. Fine. Because contrived plot. But again, these are all small things that I'm really sort of expanding on because, like I say, 3/4, 80, 90% of the film is really enjoyable, and these are just the small little niggles. Please don't take it as being this film is shit, because it is nowhere near shit. It's a great film. If you haven't watched it, you should watch it. If you've watched it, watch it again for fuck's sake. And I definitely intend on blowing it on Blu-ray when it comes out. So I don't do ratings in these things because I think ratings are completely pointless because a film is not exactly like another film. It's not exactly like another film. You enjoy films for multiple different reasons. They're emotional rides, as they all should be. So if you enjoy Star Wars, you'll definitely get a kick out of them. Don't be surprised if a few of the plot points and bits I pointed out make you feel the same way. You go, huh, that's bizarre. Huh, why did they do that? And hopefully, if you've seen this before you see the film, it doesn't make you then go, fucking expecting X, Y, and Z to come up because I mentioned them. But yes, all in all, I hope you enjoyed this film. If you haven't seen it, if you have, you should have enjoyed it. If you didn't, there's something wrong with your soul. And yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I shall see you all in the next one. Catch you all later on, peeps. Bye.